Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, my name is Tyler with the Tarver Academy YouTube channel that you're on right now. If you want, start this thing off. First off, I'm excited you're here. I'm so excited you're here and you're spending time learning and having fun with us today. And if you could hit that red subscribe button, it's underneath the video. That's just a really nice thing you can do for people who make videos on YouTube. And so if you want to hit subscribe, you can always unsubscribe later. Okay, and we've talked about in previous videos that that's not going to inundate your feed with my videos. It's just an easier way for you to find me in the future. So I recommend subscribing to any YouTuber that you watch their video and you like what they're doing. That way you can find it later. And we're talking about that a little bit today because today I want to talk to you guys about bell ringers and a virtual classroom. Now, I'm going to talk about it to where you can have adequate and very good bell ringers in your, like if you're having an in-person classroom, but also how does that translate to a virtual classroom? I think it serves great purposes in both, but I think that they're different purposes. Okay, so let's chat about that. First thing before we get started, I would love to know, this is Tea Time with Tyler, and so I would love to know what you're drinking this morning. My tea is a sunrise blend by Starbucks with a little bit extra cream in it, and it is called coffee. And I'm so excited to be drinking it this morning, and I'm so excited you are here. Okay, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Tell me where you're coming from in the chat. Tell me where you're coming from, what you're drinking, and we'll get rolling. Hopefully I can see some familiar faces. Raj, R-O-J, I hope I'm saying that right. Raj is ready, and so am I. So let's get going. Okay, so we're talking about bell ringers. How many of you guys do bell ringers in your classes? What a bell ringer is whenever you have something. Traditionally, I had mine written on my dry erase board. This is a shelf, but let's pretend I'm teaching in front of my class. I taught high school math. I had a dry erase board, and in the upper right-hand corner, it said bell ringer. And underneath it, if I was teaching geometry, I would just have, the question that I was going to ask them. So it was like, solve for x if x equals 2 plus 8, which x is 10. Okay, so that was an easy question. But I would try to have an equation. Usually what I did was I would go pull from the ACT, like the released items. That way my students were getting the chance to, they're getting the chance to go through and work out problems that they'll see on what I deemed the most important test of their high school career, which is the ACT. And so a lot of times that was stuff that they had learned previously, either in my class or in another class, or stuff that they were going to learn. So I would even put stuff up there that maybe they weren't familiar with, but I wanted them to give it a shot. And this is pre one-to-one Chromebooks. So now you could actually tell them like, hey, you can Google it, go search for it. Like you can have a little bit more, you have a little bit more freedom with regards to how they look for their own stuff. Now, why did we do bell ringers? Why did I do bell ringers as an educator? Well, one, my boss told me to. And number two, you do bell ringers a lot of times because you're trying to do administrative stuff when class starts. In the chat, let me know. Let me know in the chat if you have ever forgot to send in your absentee stuff at the beginning of a class period. I saw a TikTok yesterday where somebody was like, they were like voicing over a song who was saying not once, not twice, not 50, not 100, probably around 500. And that's just the thing. Like you have to send in all of the absentees at the beginning of each class period. And then if you had a student that missed class the day before, then you have to go and you got to find, oh, here's the assignment. And then I go hand it to the little Robbie who missed yesterday for no reason at all. And while these students are doing this bell ringer, I'm handing little Robbie his assignment, and I'm asking him to, I'm asking him to learn this while I explain it to him in like 2 minutes. Like, hey man, here, let me summarize yesterday's 45-minute lesson in 2 minutes. Or I just tell him where to go to get the resource. I'm like, hey, just Google it, man. We got to move on. So that's kind of the reason we did it. Okay, we got people jumping in. We got people in the chat. Hey, Lisa Houston, she's drinking water. They say drinking water in the morning is like running, like is the equivalent to running like a 5K to get your day started and how it wakes you up. We got Nancy. from Alabama going creamer and a little coffee. That's pretty much how I do my coffee. I go to Starbucks, like, give me extra cream and then put some coffee in there. I'm with you, Nancy. We got Angela coming in from Bryant, drinking a Dr. Pepper. Man, I haven't had carbonated drinks in so long. If I did that, I don't know. I'd just be like, hey, everybody, welcome to the show. I don't know. I probably, my body couldn't handle it. Kelly with Springdale with a hot black tea. Oh, that sounds peaceful. That sounds super chill. Tammy got water coming in from Memphis. Rodney drinking nothing. Rodney just said good, but Rodney, it's good to see you, bro. Judy's drinking water from Southside, staying healthy. I like it. Heather is doing Arkansas, doing the Zen green tea again, killing it. I love it. I need to try it. I need to start mixing it up because I'm always like, I'm doing coffee. I'm doing coffee today. I need to start mixing it up. Tammy Gilmore with the Diet Dr. Pepper from Southside. Tammy, I know. We hung out. Remember that day we hung out at that PD? It was great. And then, sup to Android. What's up? We got Leslie coming in from Hot Springs, Mountain Pine High School. Always forget to do attendance. Me too, Leslie. I was so bad. I was just like, looks like everybody's here. They'll let me know if I messed up. And meanwhile, little Johnny's roaming the campus. Mountain Pine, we used to play them play against them in basketball and track. They had a really good track team too. Tammy, of course, catching up at the end of the day. That's where I am. Absentees, catching up at the end of the day. Rodney's coming in from Asia and it's the middle of the night. Man, I love your dedication, bro. Love it. Okay, Heather asked, this is a good question before we get started. Heather asked, hey, Tyler, my chat is at the bottom of my screen. How do I get it back to where I can see you and it at the same time? You can go to youtube.com. Okay. Y'all want to do Inception? I'm going to go to this actual live video. Let's see if this goes. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. We are getting to bell ringers. If you're watching this later and you're like, I don't want to learn the thing you're teaching now, I want to learn this. First off, change your voice. That's not very nice. And second off, you can just go to you can just scrub ahead because that's the beauty of online video. You can just skip ahead. Lori coming in with the cold brew. I like a nitro cold brew. Oh my goodness. Now I can hear myself. Oh my goodness. The audio is not gonna work for me. Hey, look, let's hit this like button. See if we can get it up to 10. Can we get this up to 10? I'm gonna hit the like button on my own video. Okay, so Heather asked, she said, hey, Tyler, the chat is at the bottom of the screen. I see that. I'm assuming it looks something like this, okay? So what you can do, look over here in the bottom right. Oh, I need to make it to where you can see my YouTube screen bigger. Sorry. There you go. That better? So over in the bottom right, these are your sizings for your YouTube video. So what you can do is you can click on this and it should switch you back to where you can see your chat on this side. That's awesome. Okay. I think my computer's running slow because I'm running video on top of my video. My computer's like, we're trying our best to make your video clean and not break up. And I'm like, hey, try doing my video while running the video at the same time. Okay. So let's talk Bellringer. Deanna, is that Deanna? Am I saying it right? If not, you can correct me. I want to be right. Hot tea with lemon from Hot Springs. I'm a 3-wing 2 on the Enneagram, so it means I want to be right, but I also want to help you. So there you go, 3-wing 2s. Okay, anybody in here Enneagram? If you're an Enneagram, if you've done that before, throw in your number. I'd love to know. We should do. I started a series called Enneagrams for Educators on how to work with other educators of different Enneagrams and then also how to work with students of different Enneagrams. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. I might throw that into one of these because these are a lot more feasible for me to do than just filming out and editing a bunch of videos. That just takes a long time. So I can do these and just chat with you guys. Okay. So we're talking about bell ringers today. Now, like I said, traditionally, I would write my bell ringer on the board and the students would have a section of their notebook where they wrote out their bell ringers. And then I would check that during the notebook check and make sure that they, had done what I asked them to do every day. I want this to be useful for you when you're in person, but also useful for you when you're virtual. So I'm going to walk through the process of how to do that, how to find a bell ringer and schedule a bell ringer. And then I'm going to talk to you about the differences between what this looks like in person and what this looks like in virtual. Okay, so First thing we need to do is we need to find some Bellringer videos. Now, I think I said it in the description, if you saw this on one of the Facebook groups, is that I actually have some resources for this. And so I'm going to use those resources now. Now, you do not have to use my resources. Okay, you don't have to. It's just they're there and they're free and you can have them. I made them. Now, do I want you to use them selfishly? Yes, I do, because I spent a lot of time making them and I want people to use them. That's the point of why I make resources for people, is I want them to use them. However, you need to find the resource that works best for you. So this is worth, a couple hours of searching if that's what it takes. And I will show you guys at the end how to search and find some different places to get Bellringers, but we're going to use mine because they're easy and they're there. So I am in my Google. Oh goodness. There you go. Stay there, little buddy. Okay, so let's make this bigger so you can see it. Okay, so we got a couple Enneagrams in here. Angela, she's an Enneagram 2. I'm a wing 2, so I want to help people too. Nancy, she's an 8. Nancy's an 8. My wife, she's actually an 8, and one of my bosses is an 8. So I work with 8s a lot. 8s can change the world. That's for sure. That is faux show. Okay, so we are in here. I'm in my Google Classroom. I want to create, I'm going to go into this class and I want to create, got it, class code. I want to create an assignment and I want it to be a Bellringer. All right. Now, you can set this up this way for in-person or virtual. So right now we're kind of handling both of those. All right. So let's go in. I'm going to click create assignment. Now, why am I making an assignment and not just a announcement? Is because if you make it an assignment, you can attach points to it, which means that students will think it is more required. They think announcements are more suggestions, and coursework is actually like it's something that they're going to take more serious. Okay, so here's how I recommend titling it. Okay, you're going to title it. I would say Bellringer. I would probably put the week first. Week 1, Monday, Bellringer. You don't have to get specific. Some people want to get specific on like, hey, this is what I'm talking about today, or here's what the video is about. Don't do that, okay? It is a Bellringer. It falls in this category where students know what's expected of them during that time. So, you know how usually I tell you to be very descriptive in what you're doing so that students have clarity. Once you build the habit after 2 to 3 days, maybe 2 weeks at the most, of getting them to do their Bellringers every single day at a certain time, then you're going to see that you don't have to be as like, this is exactly what the video is about. You can just go in and, title it this way. Here's why I also title it this way. Week 1, Monday, Bellringer, is because a Bellringer happens every single day. You should be doing that every single day in all your classes. Whenever you go back next year, you don't have to create all these Bellringers and all these posts. All you're doing next year is you're clicking reuse post, and then you can go grab it. And then you'll know what week of school you're in and then what day of the week it's going to be that you want to post it. So it's a lot easier for you next year if you're organized in how you label this stuff this year. Okay, so now let's go get our Bellringer. All right, now I'm going to use the ones I have because they're free and I think they're good resources. So we're going to go to tarveracademy.com. I'm going to put that in the banner. So create banner. Let's call it, say, Tarver Academy. So you guys know where I am. Always keep them clear. I can't spell academy. Academy. I should know how to spell I know how to spell it. Okay. Add banner. Okay. So I'm going to add this on here. Okay. So I'm on tarveracademy.com. And I'm going to go to Bellringers. Again, you don't have to use mine. I have free ones, so you can use them if you want. So I'm going to go up here to Bellringers at the top. All right. I'm going to use, if you're a math teacher, oh my goodness, I've got math Bellringers, and I'll show you those in a second. But I'm going to use the one that I think you could use pretty much any grade level, is quote of the day. So what I did was I took famous quotes from different people in history, different notable figures, and I made anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes is what most of them are. I think the most is like 3 to 4 minutes. of any video, but it's less than 5 minutes. Every single one's less than 5 minutes. I take a famous quote and I say, hey guys, welcome to Tarver Academy. Today's quote of the day is, the time is always right to do, I'm sorry, I would say it like this. Today's quote of the day is by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, so I'm going to tell you my thoughts on the quote. I would love to hear your thoughts on the quote. And then I say the quote, the time is always right to do what is right. To me, that means this, this, and this. Okay, and then I said, at the end of me explaining what I thought out of it, I say, okay, that's what I think, but I care more about what you think. So in the discussion of your teacher's Google Classroom or in the comments of this YouTube video, please tell me what you think about this quote, what it means to you, and then reply to one of your classmates. Remember to keep it kind. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you guys later. Never stop learning. And that's the gist of most of these videos. I think all of the early ones, I was trying to still fill it out, but that's the flow of all of them. So the idea is, sorry, my kids are yelling. So the idea is that I lay out a famous quote, I tell you what I think about it, but then I ask for their thoughts on it. And that's the point of that, is to start a discussion, get their brains thinking. I said earlier that Bellringer served the purpose of me being able to handle administrative stuff in my classroom while I like taking roll and things like that. Now, what it does in a virtual environment is it gets the students talking. It gets discussion started. Earlier, whenever I started this, I was like, hey guys, tell me what you're drinking and where you're watching from. I said, say that in the chat. I did that to get the conversation started with you guys. One, I do care and I want to know, but also it's to get the conversation started. So whenever you are, teaching virtually, one of the big things that you're going to struggle with is trying to keep your students to where they're engaged and they're not ghosting you, where they're disappearing because they're hidden behind a screen and they don't think you see them. This is a good way for them to start the day off with discussion, because I'm assuming you're going to meet or talk throughout the day and you want them to be active in the conversation, either in the chat or in the Google Meet live video. Okay. So we're at tarveracademy.com and we're at the Bellringers. I've clicked on Bellringers. I've actually got an example quote for you to use. So you don't have to, so I'm going to copy this, Command C or Control C, depending on which computer you're on. And then I'm going to paste it in here. Hello class, watch today's video for quote of the day. And in the comments of this post, give your thoughts on the quote and how it applies to you. Do you agree or disagree with Tyler? Okay, that's okay. Teach them it's okay for you to disagree in a respectful way. We want to curate that debate, that discussion, but they're going to have to be involved. And that's the thing. If they're going to disagree, they have to understand and know why they disagree with whatever I said on it, okay, about what the quote means. Make sure to reply to at least one classmate, which I think is good because it creates discussion among classmates. And that's the other thing, guys. You're going to be struggling not only with getting them to talk and be seen in this virtual environment, but also you're going to be struggling with building community. That's one of the big things that teachers I'm talking to are struggling with, is they're thinking, how am I going to build community in an online environment? You do that through consistent things that they know, and you need to create discussion. They talk to each other, because for them, talking to each other online is the same as talking in real life. And I would assume it's probably the same as real life for you too. And if you don't believe me, think of the last mean Facebook comment you got and how much it hurt you. It means something to us there too. So keep it kind in the comments. Now I need to attach a video. So I'm going to click add, and I could do a link, but I'm going to always recommend a YouTube video because it's going to look better on the student's end. So I'm going to click YouTube video. Now, from here, I could just search like, Tarver quote of the day. And so this could be a way, if you're just finding videos every day just from YouTube, you could just search YouTube directly from Classroom. If you're going to be consistent about Bellringers, I would not recommend this, because after like 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to start forgetting what you've already selected, and you might accidentally throw in the same Bellringer that you did before, which might not be a bad idea. Here, if I click up here, I can go to URL. Okay, so I told you guys, I laid this out for you. I've got Bellringers for you for the entire year. Okay, so you can just go to my website, click on this, and you can get this. Okay, I grab the link. There's a Star Trek commercial. I want to grab this link. I'm going to copy it. Go back over here to my classroom. I'm going to paste that into the URL. Now, if I do it this way, that means that I can work my way down the list and not have to go find random videos every day. I can just work my way down the list of videos. And if say I want to skip, let's see, Ben Brown. Let's say you see this and you're like, you know what? I want to skip this one. I don't want no YouTuber talking to my students. Well, guess what? You just skip it because I'm making extras. So I'll have more than 180. I'm going to go in and make some extras for you guys as well. So you could skip a few if you want. Don't skip like 100 because I don't have 100 extra, but I'll have a bunch. So there you go. You would work your way down the list. Another way to do it would be just say, if you don't want to do the work, you say, hey, students, here's the link to tarveracademy.com/quote. You could put that in there, and then you could just tell them to go to number 6, go to number 7, go to number 8. Yes. Okay. Kelly asked, show me again where you got the link. Okay. I went to add, YouTube, and then I'm going to go to URL. Good morning, Mary. It's good to see you. I'm very excited to see you here today. So I'm going to click on, this is tarveracademy.com/quote. This is my quote of the day, Bellringers. Then you pick a video. Okay. Now I've clicked on the video. I can select up here, and then I can hit, like, it's up here in the address, the search bar, Omnibox, whatever you want to call it. Control C is where you select the whole thing. Control C, I copy it. Oops, didn't mean to click on that. Okay. Control C is copy, and then paste. Okay. And then you click add, and that's how you would add it. Now I've got 2, so I need to delete one. I want to show you guys another trick. Okay. So let's say you're on here and you don't want to like click on it and go to it. You can actually just right click on the link and go to copy link address. And that way you don't have to click, go to YouTube, copy the link. You can just right click, copy link address. Okay. So then you paste it over here. All right. I'm about to go through my settings over here on the right side, but I want to answer a couple questions. Kelly, I hope I answered your question on how to do that. If not, let me know and I can go through it again. I think right click actually will save you guys some time. So right click, copy link address. Oh, Kelly got it. She's like, Tyler, I don't need you to say it again. Yeah. Julie said, can students do a Bellringer in Google Forms while they are in Google Meet? Yes, they can. It just depends on their screen. And so a student can be in a Google Meet in one tab, and then they can open up another tab over here. And so it depends. So I'm assuming, Julie, that you're saying, can they do it through their Google Classroom while they're in Google Meet? Or no, you're saying in a Google form. So you could send them the form and you could have them fill it out there and then hit submit. And that would be, how you record it, which is totally fine. I would probably do Google Classroom because you're not doing multiple questions. Now, if you built an assignment out for the day in a Google form, you could do a Bellringer at the beginning that they go through, and then it rolls into the rest of their assignment. It's just, if it's only one thing you're wanting them to do, then I would just do it in Classroom, because forms are better if it's more like you're doing a bunch of stuff or you have multiple things to do. So boom, just put that dude in timeout for saying something not nice. So whenever, do you guys know you could do that in YouTube? If you're doing a live video, you can put users in timeout if they say something you don't want. So fun fact. All right. Was there something else I was going to show you guys? I feel like was there? I don't think so. So, okay. So let's go back to here. Okay. Now I'm about to post this Bellringer. Okay. I can pick which class I want it to go out to, and I can pick multiple classes at once. Then I could also choose particular students if I would like. Points, I probably would make it worth 100 points. I'd make it worth 5 points. Okay. Due date. Now, this is if I'm going, say I'm making it live right now at 8:30. I could go in and make the due date today at, 8:45 a.m. So whenever I sign it, I can make it due like 15 minutes later. You don't have to give students a full day or 2 days to do these assignments. Actually, what I recommend, if you're doing virtual, I would recommend scheduling this Like you could do these the week before. You hit schedule. You can make it, I want it to go live tomorrow at 8 a.m. Okay, well, I got to change the due date because I have my due date. Sorry, click this. Let me get rid of that. Let's make the due date tomorrow. Okay, so I can schedule it for 8 a.m. tomorrow. So I could have this bell ringer. Oh, crud, I hit schedule. I wanted to show you more. I'm gonna have to go in. I'm gonna edit this. Sorry, that's my bad. Okay, so I've got it scheduled for tomorrow at 8 a.m. All right, my students know to get on Google Classroom at 8 a.m. every morning to start class. So then what I can do is I can make the due date that Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. You don't have to give them all day to do these assignments. I want you to do this bell ringer within the first 15 minutes of class or the first 30 minutes of class. If you're early education and they're with you all day, you can make this the first 15 minutes of class as they're doing this bell ringer. And then you could say, okay, at 8:30, I need you to watch these YouTube videos. What that allows you to do is it's a way to virtually take roll for your classes. So when you guys went remote back in March, April, whatever, when you did that, did you ever have a day where a student didn't do anything they're supposed to that day and you didn't find out till the next day or maybe even the next week? With this, what you can do is you can actually go in and see, okay, you can have a checklist or a Google Sheet, however you want to do it. And if students are going in and doing this, they're not conversing with you. It frees you up to go in and take roll. You can mark their names down and be like, okay, Johnny check, Sally check. You go through and you're just checking them off. And you're like, okay, I've got 4 students who haven't done their bell ringer and it just ended. So I could email them right there and notify them. Then I could call their parents and be like, hey, little Johnny hasn't checked in today. Can you make sure that they're signed in? They start their bell ringer and then we're about to start class in like 20 minutes. You could even assign them to watch like a YouTube video. If you do like a flipped classroom model, you could assign them to watch a YouTube video for a playlist for like 30 or 45 minutes, and it gives you that time to do those assignments, or that time to call students and parents to get them on that. Mary said a good thing. She said, and this is legit, this happens. She said, I can hear it now from the students who are virtual, but I was asleep. My mom didn't wake me up. My internet wasn't working. Look, here's the deal. School, you have internet, and if not, I'm assuming your school's working out something for hotspots, something like that. If that's the case, you can allow them to do it anytime throughout the day. That gives their parents time to drive them up to the school and sit next to a hotspot, or they can go to Starbucks or Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or whatever has Wi-Fi. But also, guys, this is going to be big for virtual. You can't give them all day to disappear. They need to be checked in as soon as the day starts, because then if they check out, they're making up for 2 days at once. And we know the students that skip usually can't handle 2 days or 2 weeks at one time. So what I recommend, this is my Tyler's recommendation from running a virtual school. I recommend as soon as you find out that student hasn't checked in at 8:30 because they haven't done the bell ringer. When will this end, Fire? I don't know, whenever I'm done talking. So peace, bro. Whenever you see that a student hasn't checked in and done the bell ringer for that day, you can call their parents. Call their parents and say, hey, this is so-and-so. I just want to check in and make sure little Johnny was ready to go for the day. We've already had one assignment. He hasn't done it yet, and I want to make sure that he's doing it. The best way to hold students accountable is to inconvenience their parents. Call the parents. You do that every day, and that parent has to keep calling that kid, hitting them up, or walking in their room, whatever it is. That student is going to start doing it because that parent's going to get sick after like a week or two every day going in there. Just be consistent, be polite. Hey, little Johnny hasn't checked in. We had an assignment. And this is a great way to make them check in that day, as opposed to like having excuses the next day or a week later. So there you go. One thing that's also really important for this is create a topic. Create a bell ringer topic, okay? You can go in here. That way the students can sort later their assignments. We can hit schedule, boom. Okay, now let's say I just wanted to go live. I don't want to schedule it. Let's, actually I already did. So let's go to create. Now, when I create one for the future, you could do this. Watch, instead of starting from scratch, I can go to create. I can reuse post. And let's see, this time sometimes takes a while to load. So I'm gonna drink my coffee. So I'm gonna go to Hey, I'm gonna go to the Bellringer, and I'm gonna hit reuse. I just reused the Bellringer from the day before. You don't have to wait till the next year to reuse stuff. And then I just go in, I'm gonna say it's still week 1. We're gonna make it Tuesday. And then I'm gonna change out this video, add YouTube. I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna right click, copy link address, and I'm going to paste that link in there. That's it, guys. I don't have to rewrite my instructions. The consistency of instructions, once you figure out the best way to do instructions, that's going to build up that consistency for your students. And so you got that, boom, and I can assign that, to Tuesday. Once you get rolling, think of how fast you could do, and you could go in and schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all for next week. I'll be straight up with you guys. I've got the whole semester. You could go in, if you did quote of the day, you could go in, do that, reuse, schedule, and you could do that for the entire year on like a 2 hours on like if you have 2 hours of free PD, go in and do this. You could schedule your quote of the days for the entire year. Just have your calendar up so that you don't do it on like a day they're off. And you're like, well, what if I'm in person? Everything I just did works for in person as well. You could go in. I'm sorry, my alarm's about to go off in my house because somebody just walked out. 1 sec. You guys are great. Take a moment to drink and think of a question if you have it. Okay, it's just on. Okay, so whenever you're doing that, you go in and schedule all those and lay it out for the entire year. And you're like, well, what if we're in person? Would this still work? Yes, it would. You could have this go live at 8 a.m. every day, even if you have 7 periods. Your students see it. Some students might go ahead and start doing it throughout the day if they want to, and and they could go in and get used to that. And like they walk in your class, they all got Chromebooks. Boom, they start working. If they don't have Chromebooks, like say your students walk in, they don't have Chromebooks, you could play it, hit as soon as the bell rings, you hit play on the video on your screen, and the students are still commenting. Oh crud, they don't have Chromebooks. They would write it down, have them write it down, or they could discuss it with a neighbor, talk to each other about this, and you just kind of do your stuff you need to do. So that's my best advice for you. If you're math, I've got those as well. That's under Bellringers, and it's got math Bellringers. Okay, you can do these, same thing. Use anything you want out of here. They're all me, and I treat it like that. I say, students, work the problem with me, and then work it together, etc. Okay, so that's my that's how I would run a Bellringer for my students for virtual or in person. I think it's important for creating discussion. It's for consistency. It's a check-in. It gives you time to go in and find students that haven't checked in for the day. It gives you the opportunity to follow with them on these little things so that they don't miss the bigger things later in the day. Now, some of you guys, if you want to use my quote of the day stuff, awesome. I've got it. It's free. Use it away. Okay. I've even got the template on there for what you can say. Math, I've got you. I've actually got some Google, like say you're an administrator, you can do, I've got, if you go to Bellringer links, I've got some Google tips of the day if you want, and you can go in and use all this. Material. Okay, Mary, you said material. How would you use it in Google Classroom? Sorry, have it. Okay, you did. Okay, you said it is Google Classroom. What do you mean by material? So like you said, how would you use it in Google Classroom? What do you mean material? Like classroom material? Or I'm sorry, I'm not following. Explain it to me. I'm gonna talk about my skills checklist while you explain it because I'm not smart enough to understand. I'm sorry, Mary. I know it probably makes sense to you and you're like, this is what I mean. I'm sorry, I don't get what you're saying. Material, how would you use it in Google Classroom? I'd walk through it like this. I'm trying to think if you mean material, like how would I use like classroom materials, like as far as like syllabi, or are you talking about like if I have a lesson? I'll let you explain it and I'll stop talking. If you want, I've got a skills checklist here. It's on my website too. tarveracademy.com/Google. These are all Google tips and tutorials for you if you have any struggles or challenges, or if you just want to pass the Google Level 1 Educator exam. It's a checklist, all these videos. And I've actually started linking these live walkthroughs up here at the top. So the big ones, that's a full walkthrough. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, Mary said, when posting a new assignment, an option above reuse is material. That's great. Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry. Not smart. Okay, so right here, classwork. Let's say I want to do it under classwork and not stream. I think I would probably use stream, to be honest, with this. Actually, I'm not, because you don't have the same options. So create material. This is what I would do for syllabus. And then I would say, please read, and then type your name in the discussion to let me know you've read this and agree with it. I would click add, and I would link to it. Actually, I just go to my Drive and grab it, because you probably made it in Google Drive. Yes, Mary, that's exactly what I would do. Examples, rubrics, syllabi. Let's say this is my syllabus. I can insert that there. And then I would just, under topic, you want to create a topic for this too. It would just be, you could call it general class material. I'll just call it class resources. Okay, that's a good topic. You want to go to all your students, whoever it would need to go to, and then I would post it. Syllabus, yeah, class. If you actually had like, hey, here's a list of things. Here's a list of things that you need to, be in my class. Oh man, I made the same screen small. Sorry, guys. So I would go in there. I would make it a syllabus, class, what you need, class materials. If you had any rubrics, if it was like, maybe it was like a list of other students in the class so that they wanted to be able to email each other. You could put the class email list, things like that. If it's groups, like say you're doing group work, you could sort into groups and toss it in here in the materials. So great question. Fun fact, Mary, I've never used materials till just now. Thank you for making me use it. That's why I was so confused, because I didn't know what you were talking about. So because I never used it, but now you've allowed me to use it. So thank you. Okay, any more thoughts, questions, ideas we can roll through? Guess what? Next week. Okay, so the next video I'm going to do is going to be on how to do video in your classroom. And I'm talking finding and posting videos that are already made on YouTube, how to do a YouTube live, how to do this, which I'm doing StreamYard. If you want to do live from your cell phone, if you want to, what are the other options? Google Meet. I'm going to talk through that. I'll talk through Zoom, maybe, if y'all make me, but Google Meet, all that. So we're walking through all that stuff, and I'm excited about that, because I think that's one thing that a lot of teachers, they want to be the one that presents the information to their students. And I get that. Okay. I get that completely. The problem is they haven't done it in an environment where they're either pre-recording it and putting it out there, or B, they're running it live. And I mean, that's what I'm doing now. And you guys know, like, it can be distracting because I'm chatting with you guys in the comments. I'm doing it because I care about you guys and I want to talk to you. But that's something I'm going to split out and do next week. We actually, my college, NLC College, we start classes next week on Monday. Our administration made the call to do virtual starting out, and then they're going to try to phase into in person. And so I know a lot of you guys are starting in a few weeks. We're starting next week. And I've been talking with the students a lot, and just we're trying to figure out ways to build community. It's going to be a mixture of stuff, but I'm excited. Lori said, we are setting up our Google Classrooms with a common topic across the district. Week 1, week 2, all materials, assignments, etc., will go under that one topic. Okay, and you're turning off the option for assignments to go in the stream. All assignments will only be visible under classwork instead of in both places. Okay, so I'm trying to understand this. Lori said, we are setting up our Google Classrooms. Oh, okay, sorry. The first time I read that, I thought you were saying you're setting up one Google Classroom for your whole school. I was like, that's going to be chaos. No, this makes more sense. Okay, let me read it through the context of how you actually said it. We are setting up our Google Classrooms with a common topic across the district. Week 1, week 2, etc. All material assignments will go under that one topic. Ooh, that's a pretty good idea. So I'm going to show you what Lori is talking about. They're creating assignments. So I create an assignment. Let's say I want to do the Bellringer. Oh, crud. Let's do the Bellringer. Okay, so I want to create assignment, but I'm going to reuse I'm going to grab that Bellringer template. Now, let's say I want to make this my week 2, okay? Week 2, Tuesday, Bellringer. All right. They're putting, what Lori's school is doing is they're universally across the district. They're making the topic week 2 and then hit assign. You know what? That's not a bad idea. I kind of like that, because what it does right here is it organizes, instead of you thinking like, because if you do it the other way, okay, so there's 2 ways to do online courses, and we've done both when I was a principal. So you can do it to where it is in session, which is where it's like the students follow with you either day by day. Here's your assignments for the day, and they're doing that with you on schedule. Or you can be like for the full week. And a lot of college classes are like this, where they'll say on Monday, boom, it goes live. Here's what's due on Sunday. And you have the whole week to do it. We all do it on Sunday afternoon. Now, the other way to do it is to lay out the whole course for students. And then they just work at their own pace, which means they're going to cram it all in the last like 2 or 3 weeks. But you can be like, here you go, work at your own pace and I'll check in with you. What you guys are doing is essentially that middle model. I wonder, Lori, are you guys assigning them their full week's worth of courses at one time and labeling it this? Or are you still going day by day, but labeling it week 1, 2, and 3? Let me know, because there's different ways to approach that if you're doing it that way. I kind of like this idea. I'm going to start trying to use this with people. That's, it's not a bad option, because here's what it does. It allows students to see very easily if they're behind. Because if I've got assignments and they're like this, that means I haven't done it, versus like shaded like this. If I'm a student and I see that, and we're on week 3 and I see that, it's an easy way for them to see that they missed something that they should have been doing. And I like that you're doing the district wide, to be honest with you, because, pick a lane and run there. It helps students get consistent and know what's happening. Sounds interesting. Mary said, sounds interesting, Lori. Just made a note of that and going to think about it more and discuss it with the LC team. Not a bad, I think it's worth discussing, because you got to think, what's more important? Is it putting it in class resources, Bellringer, all that, or week 1, week 2, week 3? I'm a doctorate stuff at Harding, and they have it set up. The assignments will have due dates that are specific, but they set it up in modules. And so that's essentially what you're doing. You're creating a module, but you're doing it by week, which I like better than module 1, 2, 3. I like weeks. Kelly said they're doing the same thing, week 1, week 2. That's cool. Julie said, would you do an exit ticket the same way? Still trying to wrap my head around how to schedule my block, Bellringer, lesson, etc. exit ticket. Okay, Julie. So if you are in person, but you're also having students virtual, I would probably do it to where, and by exit ticket, are you talking about like an evaluation assessment? I know different people mean different things by exit ticket. But I'm gonna talk on the second part, said where you're trying to wrap your head around how to schedule your block, your chunk of time that you have with the students. If you're high school, so like here is an example right here. Here's an example of a schedule for, and it's probably more for like early ed. You could start with an announcement video from your teacher at 8:15, your bell ringer goes live. 8:30 is when that bell ringer's due, and then the students are working on the assignment. They're working through a video playlist. That gives you time, because you're not having to teach. It's either your video's pre-recorded or somebody else's. It gives you time to call parents and be like, hey, they haven't checked in. They haven't talked on the announcement. They haven't talked on the bell ringer. I need them to check in and start doing stuff. Google Meet starts at 10. Students start their homework at 12, and then you have like open office hours from 2 to 3. Now, if you're high school, which is I think what Julie's talking about here, it's different, because you don't have all day where you have those students. And so honestly, what you do is you would take that. I don't know if I just kicked y'all off my audio. I think I didn't. Are y'all still there? Okay, good. What you would do is you would take that and you would condense it. If you're going class by class, like say you're a block schedule, or you're talking about your block like every day you have for 45 minutes, I would have bell ringer kicks in. That's 5 minutes. Okay. It's a good little assignment, because you're getting assignments every day. Students can't miss a day and be like, oh, it doesn't matter. No assignments were due. Every day assignments due, because you have a bell ringer. Then you have 40 minutes to teach them. What I would recommend, guys, is you're going to have to go flip classroom. If you're out there, you don't have time to spend in that 40 minutes where you're just delivering content. You're going to have to pre-record that video You're going to have to pre-record it or go find a video on YouTube or whatever resource you're using. You assign that as homework, okay? And you're thinking, well, they got all their classes doing it. Yeah, they had homework in all their classes too. This guarantees they only have 20 or 30 minutes for your class to get prepped. And you're not wasting that time delivering. I say waste. You're not utilizing all your time delivering those resources. They're getting that. And then when they come into your class in your Google Meet, you're sitting there hitting the individual stuff. You're creating conversation. You're doing activities. You're getting the stuff that requires you and interaction with you. Let them pull in that information, that content outside of class as homework. And that's how I do it. And then at the end of the class, you do your exit ticket. You do like a quick quiz or evaluation. You can do a quiz in classroom. For week 2, you could do create a question. Okay. This could be your exit ticket. You could say, week 2, Tuesday, exit question. And every student has to answer something, short answer, multiple choice, whatever you want them to do. They have to answer it. Summarize today in 1 sentence. I spelled it wrong. Sorry. And then you add that as the quiz. That's your exit ticket. Maybe you could do that. Just an idea, throwing that out there. I'm not saying it's the right or wrong answer. I'm saying that's an idea. Okay. Lori said that she thinks they're doing day by day. That's totally fine too, because it still organizes your week. So I think that's totally okay. Day by day, but you label it under the topic of week. I think that's going to be good for you guys to stay organized. Kelly said, I'm using 1 Google slide a week, so all my work will link to Google Classroom to week 1. Okay, I've actually seen that. Some people are laying out their entire week on a Google slide, and it literally will just say, like, let's say I'm in here, and it'll just say Monday up here, and then it has what they need to do for Monday, and then Tuesday, and then Wednesday. That's essentially like you're condensing your Google Classroom and your resources, and instead you're putting it all in there. Now, you could attach all that to like one assignment in Classroom that's titled week 1. You could just say week 1, and then you have every resource. The problem is they might watch the resources out of order. And that's why I always recommend in Google Classroom, whenever you are in the description, I recommend doing this. So whenever you're making an assignment in the description, you say, number 1, watch the video. Number 2, complete the form. Number 3, type a discussion. 4, submit this. I lay it out. It's virtual. If it's virtual, you've got to be so clear and so procedural with everything that you're doing. Farah said, in a previous live video, you talked about posting video analysis directly from Google Classroom. Mine took a long time to load the videos. Is that typical? It depends how long the video is. So that's a good question, Farah. Because we talked about in a previous one how you can go directly from Google Classroom and post a video, and it uploads it to Google Drive. So you're uploading a video to Google Drive. What I recommend, if you're doing that, because what I'm assuming you did is not like a 5-minute or less announce video, because you would have seen progress pretty consistently on that if you have decent internet. What you probably did is like a 45-minute video. Yes, that's going to take a while. It's going to take maybe 20 minutes, and that's a long time to have your phone sitting there uploading. If you're recording like a full lesson, like I like the community videos or a quick announcement video or a Bellringer or whatever it is, if it's 5 minutes or less, straight from your phone is good. If it's a longer video, from Tyler's experience of doing a lot of videos and posting them on the internet, you don't want to spend 45 minutes teaching a lesson and then something mess up and then Google Classroom crash and you lose your video. It makes me nervous making a video longer than 5 minutes directly in Google Classroom. And I probably should have said this whenever I did that, but I'm sorry. I'm glad you asked now. When you make a long video, I feel safer if I can see the record button. And then whenever I stop recording, I know I'll have that video, and then I can figure out the upload. Because what you're doing when you go directly into Google Classroom and do a video, you're recording and uploading, boom, directly in there. It's like one step. When you record it, hit stop, and then you upload it, it's like 2 steps of the process. So it takes longer to do it, but it opens the opportunity for it not to be, you could figure out if it messes up here before you try to do the same thing here, okay? So good question, Farah, and that's what I would recommend. And it probably did take a long time if you did a long video. Now you can do the same thing. You can upload, you can record the whole video and then upload into Drive and then tag it in Classroom. You don't have to put it on YouTube, but that's what I would do. Split those steps out. Lori said, yes. Oh, Lucy's here. Cool. Lucy's our next door neighbor's dog. Lori said, when we were shut down, we rolled it out on Monday, all due the next Sunday, like college. But that didn't work so well. It's probably because they all waited till Sunday night, or they didn't do it at all. And then you look up Monday and you got a student who is a full week behind and now has to do 2 weeks at once. So, yep, I completely understand. And Lori said, so you think they'll do it day by day, just having it all show up in one place? I think that's a great idea. I like that a lot better for K through 12. I like that a lot better than laying it out week to week. So I think that's, y'all made the right decision. You don't need my approval, but I think you made the right decision. Julie's talking about a high school math hybrid. Okay, yes, that's what I would do, Julie, what we talked about earlier. If you're in person plus virtual, it's almost like you have to do it period by period. I would still do it in those blocks, and make that 1 hour block of when your class is, make it when you do your open Google Meet. And I would also even open up office hours later. So here's one thing you guys are going to need to think about and decide with your administrators. And I've asked administrators when I speak at schools, like, what are you doing? What's your plan for this? Is because if you are fully virtual and you are a high school teacher that has, I teach 5 periods of Algebra 2, okay? You do not need to check in like a normal school day and teach that lesson 5 times throughout the day. You do not need to go, okay, well, it's first period. I need to go in. Hey, guys, today we're learning about this. Second period. Hey, guys, we're learning about this. You don't need to do that. Condense those. Put them together. And either have all of them watch you live on StreamYard like this. You can have 100 students in a class like this. They can all be having discussion. They can all be talking. You can be addressing questions. You can do that with a live video. You could even do that with a YouTube Premiere. Google Meet, it's harder. So what I would recommend is you either do something like this to deliver all the content the first time, or you can pre-record it, or you can just attach a video from YouTube. That's how you deliver the content in bulk to the students at once. Then what you do is you have open Meet hour for like an hour or 2 in the day. And then the students can check in and ask individual questions. You might have some students that don't ever have to check in at all. And that's just, if they're on their stuff, they've got an A or a B, what's the purpose of them checking in? They're handling business. You might call them just to build, rapport with them, connection, like, hey, let's do a Google Meet. I just want to hang out. You can make them do that. But what you're doing is you're using that Google Meet time to trim out that 80%, 70 to 80% of students that don't need your individual help. They can just watch videos and do the work online. And you can really focus on that 20 to 30% of students who need help. We actually did something at the district when I was in central office at Bauxite called a Flex Mod schedule, where students actually had that opportunity where if they were doing well in classes, they could go work independently. But if they needed extra help, they could go in and get tutoring from teachers. And so that's an option. Lori said we're doing blended. Our high school math teachers are doing flipped classroom because they have to record a video anyways. It's true. In-person students will work on homework in class. I'm not gonna lie, Lori, I kind of like that for in-person anyways. We used to do that in my class. Now, I wouldn't just have them sitting there working on the problems. Work out a way to where they're like using what they learned on the flipped classroom and they're building it into like a class presentation, or they're taking turns walking through it or presenting. I would mix that up and try some different stuff for that. Don't make it just like working through the problems. Kushal just said, what is this video about? We're doing bell ringers, but now I'm doing like a Q&A part where we're talking about how to incorporate video or do like flipped or virtual learning in your classes. Yeah, I'm doing a video. Can I wait a second?
Mom, Lucy is over here, and then she needs your help.
Okay, I'll be in there in a second. Thank you. I'm gonna tie a knot for a dog. That's my daughter Ezra. We of course want your approval. You don't need my approval at all. Got to run dentist appointment. Mary, I've actually got an appointment in like 15 minutes too. So I'm gonna have to bounce too. And thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you. I'm gonna tell you a couple of ways you can connect with me if you want. We've got tarveracademy.com. That's where I've got these bell ringers. It's just click the bell ringers link at the top. And I've got all these for you guys if you want. If not, go to YouTube, find you somebody that you like that's got a lot of videos, and you can use those as bell ringers. If you want to text teacher to 501-214-4071, this is completely free. It's a way for me to send you out resources as I make them. As I make these resources, if I build something, if I finish Bellringers, or if I do like a Google form for back to school or whatever it is, or if I'm going to do one of these live videos, I can send that out to you. I didn't to my group. I'm sorry. I didn't do the group last night because I didn't know I was going to be able to do this morning until last night at like 10, and I don't want to text you guys at 10. It's free to you guys. So if you want, do that. If you haven't hit the red subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe and the like button. It's just really nice to do for YouTubers that make stuff. If you could hit that subscribe button, that would be cool. And then Patreon, we had our July book giveaway, which today is the 31st. So it's the last day to enter to win this, which I've only got, I think, one person that's entered. So you've got a really good chance. So if you want, go to patreon.com/Tyler Tarver. If you want to support me on Patreon, that's cool. You don't have to. If you want to, that's cool. It helps me pay for stuff like StreamYard and the tech service and all that other stuff, but you don't have to. The thing that I want you to do is enter to win this, and all you got to do is comment on the post where we're doing the book giveaway. That's for July. I'm giving away Ron Clark's book for that. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. If you want, hit me up. You can also text me through that text thing. Then I've been responding to people as they have questions there too. Just give me some time because I have to, a lot of questions. So thank you guys for tuning in. Y'all be good, stay sweet, and never